So ISIS, last week we did a video on ISIS. Everyone's talking about ISIS now. We were a day or two ahead of the thing. They are releasing these insane videos of beheadings and massacres and just shooting people in the streets and all this terrible stuff. And we showed one of them last week, and now we actually found a worse one. So I'm just warning you, this is beyond graphic and horrible, so you are warned.
رؤوس النصيرية قنبلة في الجعبة تفجر رؤوس النصيرية اللواء 93 الدولة الإسلامية هذا هو الأخ الذي يقوم بجز رأس أحد النصيرية من عناصر اللواء 93.
Okay, so that was ISIS beheading a Syrian soldier in Syria, not in Iraq. They are in Iraq and Syria. And I think it's important to show this stuff because the mainstream media isn't showing it, partly just because it's so graphic, but also this is spreading. This is getting worse every day. I feel like we don't even know how to talk about this because it's that horrific and we've never dealt with anything of that level.
People say really bad things about ISIS, but they did return that severed head to its rightful body at the end of that video. So, let's just keep
and I hear they have a great dental plan.
Make sure we put it all in context. Yeah, I think it's important to show it too. I think we should be careful a little bit. I think you should show it and we should talk about it, but I mean, Iraq and Syria for the last few years, I mean, it's not the first beheading. I don't know whether these guys are doing it a ton more than was happening in Iraq when, more than 100,000 civilians were killed during the war.
Right, we do have weird rules. If you shoot, 10,000 people, they somehow think that's not that bad. But if we see 100 people decapitated, then it's much worse. But I guess it's the optics of it.
Well, I think that guy was already dead. I'm pretty sure, so I don't think it bothered him that much.
Yeah.
So yeah, it gets back to this thing of war, like what's cool, what's not cool. Like somehow that's worse than they already killed him. So I understand you're supposed to have reverence for a body and all that stuff, which I don't know how much I believe in for real, right? And because it just makes people crazier, right? Oh, we have to protect this sacred body. It's dead. The guy's dead already. It doesn't really matter, and. Yeah, they've been beheading people. They used to have guillotines in civil society. So this is not that. To me, it's like, it's gruesome to look at, but it's not any more gruesome than the rest of the war. They have 40,000 people on the top of a mountain that they're trying to kill, that they don't even have shoes or water. They're dying from thirst.
Right, so we are down doing some strikes and we apparently dropped some food and some water.
Yeah, so I'm getting that thing that people had during the Syria thing. Some people wanted, we got to go back. I'm getting that, right? Even though I'm totally against that stuff. Yeah. I'm like, I was walking my dog today. I was like, I would like to go shoot some ISIS guys.
So that's the thing about this. Well, one, they stopped doing the guillotine in part because it was too hard to cut somebody's head off, even with the guillotine, which that video shows. It's not easy, which is why they'll ultimately stop, just from a manpower point of view.
It's just a lot of work.
For very little reward. But the reward that they have now is terror.
Yeah.
It strikes terror into people. And of course, what this builds, the danger of what this builds, and what they are hoping, what they would like to accomplish, I suspect, if they're this sophisticated about it, is that John Kerry and the foreign minister of Australia get on television and they talk about the picture of the boy with the holding the severed head.
Well, let's show that right now.
Right. So, and that picture does nothing. Like, everybody's grotesque. Unless you see the real picture, this means nothing.
Right, so this is the 7-year-old son of a guy named Khalid Sharoof, who was a convicted Australian terrorist who left Australia to go fight for ISIS, and he brought his kid. So yeah, the only image we could find was with it blocked out.
I tried to find the real one, and I couldn't.
It turns out that guy's dad is schizophrenic.
Yeah, he's schizophrenic.
And he's been in hospitals, and he's been in, and somebody, they treated him, and they're like, hey, he's cured.
He's a comedian.
Yeah, he's just a comedian with issues.
Comedian with issues. Yeah. What worries me, and it worries me, but I'm certain it will happen, is that you get John Kerry and the foreign minister of Australia talking about how hideous this is. Everybody's talking about how hideous this is. At some point, some Western country will capture some ISIS guys, right? Mm-hmm. And we will think these are the guys we sawing this guy's head off, right? And the kid made his kid hold a severed head. John Kerry was revolted by it, right? Well, we're not going to want to give that guy a trial. We're not going to care how long we lock that guy up without giving him a trial and just throw him away in a cell or execute him and never let him see a judge. You know, this week, Ramzi bin al-Shibh, one of the orchestrators of the 9/11 attack, who we caught in 2002, has just had his trial separated from the other guys. It's 2014. These guys haven't gone in front of a judge yet for their formal trial. And the prosecuting saying, that's outrageous. How can you separate this trial? When it seems like there's real evidence that the torture that we did to bin al-Shibh has made him insane and he's not competent to assist in his own defense. We don't care. We don't care because they killed 3,000 people. And the system that we had and the structure of justice is supposed to apply to everyone. But these guys are going to make us, once again, shrug our shoulders and abandon any sort of rule of law because we're going to feel like these guys, when they sawed off that Syrian soldier's head, they lost the right to be treated civilly. And the war machine will continue.
Are we really dealing with something that we've never dealt with in that regard? Like, they want us to play on our worst parts of ourselves. That seems obvious. They want war, you know what I mean? It's like with Hamas, and they want dead civilians on both sides, so then they force Israel to shoot, and then Israel does something they don't want to do, and then you just get more dead people. So we're really in like a culture war right now, right? Across the world.
I would disagree with that framing, but I don't remember what your question was.
All right, forget that question then. Let's move on to, so ISIS again is, they're basically...
Can I say this about ISIS, right? So this just goes, again, the hubris of American foreign policy to think that somehow we're going to go fix the Middle East, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to go and we're going to bring democracy to the people of Iraq with their purple fingers. They fucking voted. So like that was some kind of a thing. So what everybody said would happen exactly happened. There was a power vacuum in the worst of the worst. So we made the system, $25 billion we spent training the Iraqi army. 700 of those ISIS guys chased 35,000 Iraqi army guys away. They just dropped their uniforms and left.
And by the way, ISIS is now using our stuff. They're using our artillery and things because they just stole it.
And John McCain would probably say, we got to give the arms to someone else that somebody's going to capture.
You got Democrats and Republicans telling Barack Obama that we made a huge mistake by not giving arms to Syrian moderates, as if we could
figure
out who they were, and that now ISIS has filled the power vacuum that we abandoned. I mean, the only legitimate criticism that you can give to the administration in Syria, to me, is, well, we did nothing and this happened, but you cannot extrapolate that this happened because we did nothing.
Yes, because if we would have did something, it might have been worse.
Or more likely, nothing. Like it would have. There'd be a lot more U.S. arms there, and we'd be essentially in the same situation. But that we could have prevented it by funding these guys, I think, is silly. And the fact of the matter is, we absolutely can't possibly know.
Right, and we fund guys, and then we fund the guys that come after them. And when the Syria thing was happening, I remember me and you were the two that were completely against the war. I mean, think about it. They wanted to bomb Assad. Well, then that would have just now strengthened ISIS. So everything we do is kind of backwards. So it goes to my last question on this. Was this sort of the perfect storm of, we had the war that was made up, the Iraq war, the George W. Bush, it's obviously his and Cheney's fault, but then Obama was sort of the perfect president to now screw it up even further by completely getting us out. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, everyone wanted out, but we had a bad president that got us in, and then this guy that just felt like, well, it's not ours to take care of anymore. So it was sort of perfect storm of, well, this is what's going to happen.
I don't know. I don't agree with that. I think one of the good things that he's done is get us out. I mean,
I don't know what the alternative is.
I don't know what the alternative is either. And so, at some point, you have to leave. I mean, I don't know what's long enough. 8 years strikes me as probably long enough. 3 years longer than World War II strikes me as long enough. And I don't know what we could have done, and what you think if we'd spent another $7 billion and trained those guys for another year, they'd have been better? I don't think so.
Yeah, I think
they didn't want to fight.
So we just don't know what we're doing. That's sort of the answer.
There's no doubt about that, David. I don't understand why. Like, so where's Saudi Arabia? You know, why aren't they? Don't they have a problem with ISIS, or are they cool with ISIS? Right?
They got to have a problem with ISIS. ISIS is a threat. Saudi Arabia is part of the caliphate.
What about Egypt? You know, what about
right? Like, why do we have to do
Why
everything?
do we have to do it?
Egypt, Saudi Arabia.
Exactly.
There's other countries, Jordan.
Which is
that
what
are against
Osama
them.
bin Laden said about when we went into Kuwait. The United States went into the Kuwait. He's like, you know, why didn't we take care of this? Why do we got to ask the infidels to come over and take care of this? And that's what, exactly. Why didn't Saudi Arabia take care of Kuwait? Why didn't they fucking do that? Why did we have to go? So that's what I don't get. Like, what are the other Arab oil-rich countries doing with all their money and weaponry?
Let's see what happens. One thing that ISIS has done well is they're paying guys who are paying poor young men to fight.
Yeah.
Are they capable of governing? I doubt it.
No.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
So, you know, and we still don't know how many guys there are.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, how many are we talking about?
So where's the UN too? Like, why isn't there a force that can go in and save these people? Why?
I don't think we have a force anymore.
No, the
I
UN.
Think, no, I know, but I don't think it exists anymore. I think it's just
I think you're
either
probably
the
right.
US does something or nobody does anything, and I don't know that either one's any better.